Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty crazy news to go and cover over here, where it seems like Xbox actually may have been claiming that they somehow actually lost the actual console war. And as well, we're actually seeing a lot more big kind of statements coming out over here, calling out the Switch, calling out other various consoles, calling out Nvidia, calling out Steam, and everything else in between when it comes to this really big FTC court lawsuit that was ongoing as of today. Now, it's kind of crazy to go into that they're essentially assuming that basically due to the overall consumption and scalping and basically overall market share, that they somehow lost to PlayStation. So we're going to talk about this, talk about official documents, kind of go through what kind of happened a little bit as of today, and I would love to hear all your thoughts and comments down below. So if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below in case you guys want to follow. We have all the Amazon links too as well down below if you guys want to go check that stuff on out, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. Let's go and dive on into the video itself. So as of right now, we kind of had some pretty strong statements, more so coming out over here from Phil Spencer and a few other folks, essentially stating that they somehow went and had Xbox already lose the console war. Now, if you guys kind of know in terms of proper numbers, right now Xbox is in a pretty solid third place, although we kind of also know there was a really big shift when it came from the Xbox Game Pass and also push into the PC market, and as well, a lot of stuff kind of ties into on Starfield, which is also the very first Bethesda game that they have a chance to launch on Xbox as an Xbox exclusive, and as well for Call of Duty and all the other various games. But right now, it does kind of seem like Phil Spencer's trying to go push that right now they basically lost the console war so far. So right now, basically, has Xbox officially lost the console war? The FTC versus Microsoft Day 2 was all about console wars and whether Xbox is really in a distant third place or not. Now, the big kind of argument over here is that Xbox is very, very falling behind and losing market share, and it kind of made some pretty good, strong statements, especially when it came to the fact of them kind of saying Bethesda kept on getting locked into specific deals with PlayStation, which was why we had Deathloop and say Ghostwire Tokyo, or as well how Nintendo has a really big its own custom catalog of games like Nintendo and Zelda games that are very, very popular. But as well, we're kind of seeing that Xbox is trying to take as small of a position as they can in the console market. So the second day of the FTC versus Microsoft hearing was all about one man, Phil Spencer, who did do a big line of questioning, as well as also a lot of just basic comments. Basically, for this one essay, it basically said that Microsoft is losing the console wars, on record him stating that, and as well, saying that Sony is aggressive and hostile competition, and to the paint that Xbox is in a distant third place where it's struggling to go and compete. Spencer also revealed that Microsoft looked into buying Zynga to improve its mobile gaming prospects and acquired Bethesda after learning that Starfield might become a PlayStation exclusive, so also trying to push for a double whammy instead of just only including one. More so importantly, sworn on oath that Microsoft won't pull Call of Duty from PlayStation as well on official record. That promise turned into some frustrations with the FTC's line of questioning from Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley and some testy exchanges between the FTC's lawyer as well, which is kind of funny because it did kind of seem like the FTC was almost supporting up here on Xbox on quite a few different occasions, which is very intriguing to go and see. On top of this, number one, they had a big chance to go talk about for the Switch. So they kicked off the day with a sealed courtroom so that Jamie Lover, senior finance director at Xbox, could deliver witness testimonies about highly confidential Xbox financials. I don't know what Lover revealed to the judge, but it set the stage for Spencer to appear and talk about the Xbox platform and then on the Switch. So the FTC and Microsoft have been arguing about whether the Switch should be included in its definition, which I would say yes. For some odd reason, I'm trying not to include that because it's more of a mobile console versus say a PlayStation, which is a pure at-home, non-obviously mobile console. So we keep on seeing all this type of stuff out there, and I'm intrigued myself because it should be included on Xbox's side. Microsoft wants the Switch included because it puts the Xbox in third place, instead of just having a competitor that you're losing towards. And the FTC argues that inside Microsoft, it's always competing and comparing Xbox to PlayStation, not the Switch. And then provide a market analysis and metrics that basically use internally to go back up its high-performance console market instead of just having it first the PlayStation itself, and it's always kind of been more in the middle. So for this one, they're trying to go best to go and see that, in comparison, they kind of go look at the Xbox and PlayStation because they did go launch at the same time, and their sales are lower on the PlayStation, but as well, the Switch has also been outselling in some cases, both of them, depending on when they actually go and look at that. They say it's incorrect to say that Nintendo isn't a competitor. I would say it is a competitor. I agree with the Xbox side. And the Switch was designed for people to take it on the go, and although the consoles are more of a sit-down console, they are still people who are playing the games. It's still a home console, and people still do play their games on their TV. I would agree on that one too as well. I also had a chance to go and compare on frames, compare the Xbox Series X and S, in comparison to say the Switch too as well. And basically all these type of things too as well. They're almost like making jokes, saying how they might even have even PC folks out here. So basically a lot of folks are trying to go push that the Microsoft and Nintendo are still competitors, which I would agree on that one. But as well, it kind of makes things a little bit more intriguing because it kind of goes and pushes that some games can be on the Switch. But as well, some of these games are not going to be played well on the Switch. Like say like a Call of Duty, that game will probably not be selling insane amounts, and also probably won't have great graphics because it's on the Switch. It's really old hardware that was already dated. But as well as still a competitor, and you still have to factor that on in because they still factor in like Fortnite and other various games that you can go and play on the Switch as of right this second too as well. So it does kind of go and show that the Switch also might be a potential competitor to Apple and Google phones, but not yet. And that might just be like a really long-term thing into like AR and other various cloud hostings or mobile components. And it's still a big deal because Apple and Google are still big competitors to Microsoft. But one of the bigger things over here is that basically Xbox right here is stating that they somehow lost the console wars. So it had the FTC versus Microsoft hearing. We saw Microsoft argue that Xbox has lost the console wars, and its rivals are positioned to continue to dominate, including by leveraging exclusive content. So think like PlayStation or Marvel's, Wolverine, or maybe think like a new Nintendo game, Zelda games, and movies, or whatever it might be. So basically, Microsoft said right now has a 16% share of console sales in 2021 and 21% of the console's installed base. So in terms of just ratios, it's very low. So as Microsoft lost the console wars, asked the FTC's lawyer in court on Friday. Spencer paused for 10 seconds here to gather his thoughts, as he clearly knows it's a hot topic among the Xbox and PlayStation fans. And he goes on to say this: as the console wars is a social construct, so basically it's not really there. I mean, it is, but it isn't. I'm always one of those people that's in the middle, but some people do care a little bit more than we'd expect. He want to say, I would never want art to count our community out. They're big fans, Spencer answered carefully. If you look at our market share in the console space over the last 10 plus years, we're in third place. We're behind Sony and Nintendo in console share globally, which is actually a truthful statement. Like, just more consoles have been sold for the PlayStation and Nintendo. So in theory, they have lost or in the process of losing. Now, are we always going to say the same time for an open-ended amount? It doesn't really matter too much. Like, if you like the console, you buy it. Or if you have a PC, you can still get Game Pass, you're still making money. Microsoft is a $1 trillion company. It's bigger than Sony. They're going to be fine. We don't have to feel sorry for Xbox folks. Make better games, and more people will go and sign up for Game Pass, more people will get Xboxes. That's really all it is at the end of the day. But still, like, that's a pretty good profitable margin, and you can't always be a clear winner when it comes to this stuff. Like, PlayStation just has a lot of good exclusives, and they have like almost a notoriety behind them, so I was going to keep on going, and well, gonna buy them. But basically, Spencer was then questioned about an email exchange with the Xbox CFO Tim Start, where the Xbox chief described Sony's PlayStation platform as hostile to Xbox's survival. As well, he also admitted that Xbox hasn't effectively competed with PlayStation, more so think like Game Pass, outside games, or etc., etc. Every time we ship a game on PlayStation, as well, this is also kind of a big one I almost want to do a deeper dive into maybe tomorrow, Sony captures 30% of the revenue that we do on their platform. And then they use that money among other revenue that they have to do things to try and reduce Xbox's survival on the market. We try to compete, but as I said, over the last 20 years, we failed to do that effectively. So they're basically trying to get their own thing over here where they want to go and sell their own Xbox games in that same similar deal. So if they somehow get Call of Duty, they want to take a higher market share, most likely due to the fact that they spent $70 billion, and then kind of takes away a little bit of money from PlayStation while they still get to line their pockets from the Xbox side. Later in that day, Spencer was then asked about Xbox targets. So your business is not necessarily meeting its internal targets today, right? Asked the FTC's lawyer. It is not right now, no, admitted Spencer. Today, with the majority of our business residing as a third-place console business, we are not a robust business. So basically kind of going and claiming that we lost the console fight. They still have a lot of money in terms of acquisitions and funding, and they're going to probably still be profitable, and Microsoft's not going to let Xbox disappear, but at the same time, they are technically losing in terms of market share. So it's kind of intriguing to see. 2 weeks ago, Spencer revealed the gaming revenue at Microsoft is double what it was in the Xbox 360 era behind closed doors after the Xbox Game Showcase, but as well, if they're still losing money or market share, it may not be as big, but gaming as a whole has expanded quite a bit. And obviously, Microsoft wants to hit huge targets. So the Xbox business is meeting targets and struggles to compete. Why is Microsoft spending nearly $70 billion on Activision? The deal, as we've talked about, expands our business to more so on the mobile platforms, what they do want to push a lot into. The existing business that we run today as the third-place console business is a very difficult business to drive profit and margins. So the opportunity for us to expand in a meaningful way into mobile, the world's largest gaming platform, was really both a strategic and business opportunity. So that's things like Call of Duty Mobile and stuff like that. and as well in terms of Activision for consoles. FTC, if Microsoft is going to grow, particularly in a business like consoles, it can grow by taking share from its competitors, which is true because they're on the third part, technically. There's no console growth in our Activision deal model, which is probably a lie as well. If they put stuff in Call of Duty on those consoles, make it special, pre-orders, that's kind of a lie, but whatever. Do we have any intentions on this deal helping you climb out of the number 3 spot? In console, no, we do not. And this is where they kind of got them a little bit because like, hey, it's just a write-off. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, we're just going to be paying people. Like, we're going to lose. It's like a business acquisition. It's not a write-off. But it kind of goes to show that they're definitely not trying to play down the console side, but this would definitely grow the Xbox console by a wide margin no matter what, or at least on Game Pass 2, which inflected would also be the Xbox side. Anyway, so kind of pretty much with all this big talk, because it does seem like Xbox is trying to go play the fact that they lost, and they more so admitted it. Right now, they are the lowest market share, but it doesn't mean they're out in the the console fight. But at the same time, it's kind of crazy to go and see this and compared to PlayStation right now. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. We have a lot more stuff to deep dive into throughout this weekend. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We have the Twitter and Twitch room. We hang out on Twitch if you guys are bored down below. Amazon links too as well if you guys want to swing by and chill. And of course, the Twitter and Twitch stream, everything else too. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. Make sure you guys are subscribed.